Abortion being a controversial term since the ancient time, literally, the term is used to refer to an act of bringing a pregnancy to an end by either extracting an embryo or the fetus before maturity. Contrarily, over 47,000 people succumb to death because of abortion and over 5 million people get bedridden annually because of induced abortion.
What is the first thing that comes on your mind when someone tells you wants to do an abortion?
Okay, when somebody comes and says that they want to do an abortion, the first thing I like inquiring why. What has motivated this person to do an abortion? Because not usual. It is not usual for somebody to just get pregnant and they want to abort. There must be a pressurizing issues. So I try to dig what are these pressurizing issues.
What makes you do these procedures?
Personally, I don't do. Personally, I don't do them. But there are some indications for abortion medically. They are also allowed. Like when the mother is at risk, or both the mother and the child is at risk. Or when you make, there are sometimes in medical we say when the benefits outweighs the risk. If you know when you do an abortion you'll save the mother, it's better than losing the two of them. But it has been proven beyond doubt that there is a medical concern.
Okay. Who was the first person to approach? Like, because you just realized that you're pregnant.
When I first realized I was pregnant, I was shocked. And I was so confused. So the first person I went to was, I have an older friend. She has a kid, so I thought maybe she's the one who can enlighten me on what I should do. So I didn't know what to do, so she's the first person I went to.
Has any of the process, has it ever backfired when you're doing it?
Personally, no. But I have some friends who it has backfired and they have shared their story, and it's not one of the best stories to give, because like sometimes you have a patient, you try to do it, they just bleed to death. Sometimes you go to abort somebody and then the child comes out crying. Sometimes the mother feels a lot of pain and decides, no, this is not what I wanted. So personally, from the religion back of it and from my personal view, I don't like doing it. Yes, but stories are there. We have even heard them from the village, from all over, from the media. They are all over.
First of all, my dad, I just told him about a phone call. He doesn't live with us, so it's like, okay, I don't know if he cares or not, but you could realize the disappointment in his tone. As for my mother, she felt her reaction was so bad towards me. She wanted me to keep the child. She's like, so unapata Dimba, and okay, you can see we did have not great of a bond, but she was full of hate, sarcasm. You don't understand. It's like she wants to see you, she doesn't want to see you. That was the worst part.
How do you feel when girls do abortion?
I feel bad because life starts at conception. But at the same time, it also depends with what has made this person to make this decision. Like for example, if you are gang raped, this is not a child you would like to see, or that child to remind you of the episode, that particular episode. Then there was something I was telling about the incest. Maybe you are raped by your uncle, maybe by your father, or by your cousin. This is not a child you'll be looking at and feel good. No. But these others, that umekuwa na best mmeenda have fun. No, you should get pregnant and give birth and enjoy your fun.
When you realize that the bond has broken between your dad, did you feel bad?
Being whether my father is in my life or not, I always term myself as my father's daughter. So when he was disappointed, I felt the worst, because now it's like you failed someone who feels so proud of having you in their life. Now it's like you're questioning them, and they're supposed to be proud of you. So that hurt me more than anyone else.
So for me, would you encourage a certain girl, because it has happened like a gang rape, and the girl is feeling totally weird. She can't bear the child. So how would you feel in that situation as a doctor? How would you help, or just tell them to keep the child?
Me, I will tell them to keep the child. If it is possible, they can wait until they give birth. Then if you don't want to see this particular child, you can take to a children's home. And then I was telling you of another incident whereby we had such a girl. She was an orphan. Then she had then maybe the uncle raped her, And then it was not like a rape because it is something like went for a long time. And now you see when this now girl came, she couldn't imagine now giving birth to this child. You see now, it's a bit difficult, but in such a situation, maybe you can talk with the girl. Once she give birth, she can take to a children's hospital, or she can take for adoption. There are people who comes looking for children to adopt. In case of if anything, if you have to do abortion, unless it is really medical, the other things should be just far off. If you give birth to this kid and you don't want the kid, don't kill it. You better even go and place it on the road. People can come and pick the child. You have saved that person's life, and maybe one day, one time, you might meet.
What was running on your mind that time? Did you have weird thoughts?
Obviously, I found out I was pregnant. I just knew I'm not keeping this child. I cannot. I won't ruin my life because of some human being living inside of me, something I never intended to have.
At that time, did you realize the father of the child just as you?
Of course, I knew the father of the child. Yeah, and he knew he is the father of the child, but
do you still talk, Kamau?
No. I can't talk to him, but I can't I respect myself more right now to not talk to him.
The relatives, they are okay. Also have friends who maybe got pregnant, but the time the child has been born, like you find like the father is avoiding the child, like you see like the girl is mentally disturbed. Why did I give birth? At least nige abort than kuweka mtoto. How would you tell such parents?
Okay, when the child has already been born.
Yes.
So the child has already been born, that child belongs to the community.
But you see these girls are really feeling bad because like parents themselves, they are closer to them, but they're not giving the support, the love. So you see, most of the girls say, let me abort to avoid such situations.
Yes, and that's why I've just told you, don't look at the issue of abortion to that particular girl. There are so many other people who are involved. And I've just told you that if this girl gets support, maybe from the boyfriend, or the father, or the mother, at least some finances, this girl will not feel guilty and will not abort. Because most of the problems is support. That's where most of the problems comes in. And the support is physically, psychologically, financially, all those aspects.
So the people you live with, the society, how do they give?
Our family is kind of well known in that area. So I got pregnant. I got a certain bump, definitely, as a feeling like that. Now everyone around me was looking at me, oh, she's pregnant. Now the worst part is that was not even bad when I terminated the pregnancy. When they refer to me, they're like, ule msichana mwenye alitoa mimba. When I'm with their friends, I'm like, huyu atawafunza maisha ya mimba. You're shocked, and then they will backlash you in every way. You can't walk anywhere peacefully. You can't even buy anything simple peacefully.
Did it affect you emotionally?
Terminating the child or realizing I'm pregnant?
Both.
Realizing I'm pregnant emotionally, it angered me. It made me so angry. I hated everyone and everything around me. I didn't even like watching movies that had any sexual content, and mentally I was so confused. I didn't know what to do, what to say. So when I terminated the child, in a way I was happy, traumatized. It depended on how or where I am. If I'm silent alone, I'm like, I really did this and I can't go back. So I don't know, but mostly I'd say mentally I was half traumatized, half happy.
Would you allow your relative or your child to do abortion?
I wouldn't, especially for my child, regardless of all those other things. I think most of the time we find those people who are doing abortion, it's because they are normally mentally disturbed. So if you get somebody to encourage them, like now, if that is my child, and maybe she had a boyfriend and the boyfriend left, it is now your responsibility as a patient to help this girl gain some courage, because tayari amekosea na anasikia amejihukumu tayari hata kabla ya kuhukumiwa na mtu mwingine, yeye mwenyewe amejihukumu. So it is upon you as a parent to at least give some hope. You can help them financially. Most of them are financially unstable. Actually, if you look for the most of the reasons why people do abortion, they will tell you they have no finances to cater for the child, they have been left by their loved ones, maybe they want to go to school somewhere, they want a job opportunity, or I told you most of the abortions nowadays are being done by the married people. So somebody will tell you that I have 2 children, I cannot add another one. I have 3 children, my husband doesn't want another one. So if that husband agrees to get another one, you see, this abortion will not occur. So abortion is a whole thing. People just look at that particular person, the victim, but there are so many other people who are surrounding that person. I told you I've saved like 7 people since I came here, and I can count those children, 1, 2, 3, 7 of them, whereby somebody comes and says, I have this person and he doesn't want a child. He told me he doesn't want a child and I'm pregnant. Then I tell that person, go and come with that person or talk with him. And once the man agrees, then the girl is so comfortable. So the issue of abortion is very broad. It's disturbs mentally, physically, emotionally, and then even the people who are surrounding you. You may be willing to abort, but you get somebody who is supporting you, and it will not happen. But people mostly look at this particular girl na wanamhukumu peke yake, but no, that should not be the case. So for me, if it's a relatives, no, if it's a relative, she can even give birth and give me. Italea, by the way, I love children. I love children so much. If it's my child, then I'll lay her a shoulder to lean on.
For the intercourse, was there a protection if there exists? And if there was, what mistake did you make?
Yes, there was protection. Now the mistake came is saying you trust the other person. That's the biggest lie this men out here will tell you. We can do this. I'm like, even though I kind of noted the fidgeting of the dude, I was like, even though we used a condom, he was going to take it out. I was like, I trust him enough. And as they say, my pull-out game is the best. Oh no, it's the worst. Okay, I won't say it was the worst, maybe it was a mistake, but yeah, that was the major mistake.
What really made you abort?
First of all, I don't think I can let anything ruin my future right now. I'm not saying that I'm way too young, but I'm way too young to start raising a kid on my own. Even if the father figure was there, it's just impossible. Like, how? And then my parents, how will they lose everything? I will give birth and hate the child because of slowing me down in life. Yes, maybe I would have accomplished everything in the future, but the time I would have taken without the kid is shorter, so that was what was running in my life.
How was the abortion? Were there any effects?
It was a medical abortion, so there were no major effects. But you get like it's called period cramps, I think. You get them excessively, then you start vomiting. Okay, you start feeling nauseous. It's like you're half pregnant. It's like your period is messing with you. You don't understand, and then you're bleeding. It's a confused, healthy living. You don't even know what you're doing. Your body today is okay, your body tomorrow, the next minute you're feeling pain all over, and it's so bad.
What do you take on a case where the parents
The
want the girl to do the abortion?
Yes, the first question I asked them is if they aborted this particular girl, whether she could be alive that particular time. And then, like I was telling you, is that if your mother takes you for an abortion, the first pregnancy, the probability of you having subsequent pregnancy is very high. From what I've found out from the few years I've been in practice, you find that you are the first pregnancy, and because your mother encouraged you and even showed you how you can do it, you get pregnant again, you go to that particular place again. So at the end of it, you'll have a series of abortions. So by the time you'll be willing to get a child or you'll be married, there will be nothing left. You'll live years and years looking for a child.
Would you encourage any girl out here to do an abortion?
Simple. I would not encourage you whether to do an abortion or not. That's a personal choice. What I will encourage you is, we know the things you have to do to not get pregnant. So that's what I'll tell you. Instead of putting yourself in a situation where do I abort, do I keep the child? Put yourself in a situation where I don't want this child, so I will do this and this. You can abstain, you can use contraceptives, you can use whatever you want. Lucky enough, they are male contraceptives, so it's you and your partner. You can do it both personally. You choose yourself, choose not to be pregnant.
What gives you this confidence to tell people your story?
People have to know this thing is real. You don't have to live in the shadows. And then there are people out here that are like, there's nothing like this. There is something like this, and to some it's the worst. Maybe my experience was not bad, but maybe the others' experience was the worst. So you don't know where you will fall in when your time comes and you are put in a situation where you don't know whether you want to keep a child, you don't know if you want to terminate, you don't know if you trust the father of the child, the said father. You don't know what to do. So that confidence that is in me is because I want people to know and to hear and know that this thing is out here. And if you want to stop, it's your choice. If you don't want, it's also your choice.
Has there been a case where the girl dies because of abortion?
A lot. They are in the media. They are everywhere. People die because of bleeding.
Has there been an incident where you've been reported for doing this?
Personally, no.
For any doctor or stories there outside?
Stories there outside are so many. We have had doctors, I don't want to mention names. They are in the media, they are in the neighborhood, and even people will tell you if you want to do an abortion, go to a certain clinic. People know these things. Just go and dig. They know how you can even go and procure a good abortion. They know the hospital where you can go and that one will not be allowed. They know. They are there.
Do you get the feel being reported? Like someone, maybe the way you're saying, you're giving us an example. Like there's this doctor that helped me do it. Like do you know there's some doctors like maybe they're insecure to do this, but they're perfect at it. So how do you feel like? Do they fear for you because you have not done the process? What will be the thought for the other doctors like if they are being reported? Do they fear?
Okay, if every medic, if they are doing it because of other issues, apart from the welfare of the baby and the mother, back in your mind you know you are sinning. So back in your mind, you know you are doing an illegal process. They know that very well. And if you are doing an illegal process, the probability of you fearing is very high.
Have you ever declined to do it to someone?
Because of the reasons you'll give me. And whichever reason you'll give me, I'll just cancel you and I'll not do it.
What's the worst scenario?
So the worst scenario of people doing the abortion, because personally I don't think I've ever done it. There are some scenarios whereby somebody tries to procure, and then the patient just bleeds and bleeds to death, and then they die there as you watch, or they just bleed, and by the time you refer them to another hospital, they are nowhere to be found.
Tell me about the 7.
Yes, I was also telling you a story of another patient who came to our clinic, 7 months old. She wanted to do an abortion. She was a college student. And then I told her, we don't do this. And then she told me, please help me. So what I did, you just for 100,000 shillings. And this person will not raise them. We tell you, yes, we pata. So they just give up. They just go. But there are some other stories that are shared by medics. You find somebody tried to do it. There was another one who was telling me he will never do an abortion. He tried to do it some other time and the child came out crying. A grown-up child came out crying. And the mother could not bear with that. So it was such a bad incident. So actually, me, the way I take it is this is killing. This is life. So you are terminating life. So you are no different from a mother, unless there is that now clause that says if the benefits outweighs the risk.
Are there certain conditions that abortion must be performed?
Yes, I told you, like in cases of eclampsia or pre-eclampsia. Eclampsia is when the BPs are very high. By that time now the patient is conversing. Now in this case now you only save the life of the mother, and the only way to save the life of the mother is to remove whatever is triggering that repeat raise high, and that is now getting rid of that child. And now once you get rid of that child, the mother stabilizes, and then you give some other medicines.
Have you ever lost or had your job position because of this? But there's some people
Yes, there's some people who have lost jobs. Things are there in the media. There are people who have lost jobs. Even some you go, you're employed for a certain clinic, your boss doesn't know, but those who are employed there, they do them. So there are things that happens. And sometimes you even agree with your boss, you shall be doing this. But I thank God everywhere that I've ever gone, I just find people who don't like you.
What would you advise girls and women
In a society where no one wants to listen to anyone, I will tell you something today, you will feel like maybe I'm saying it out of a perfect way. And then you'll say maybe I'm telling you to do this because I don't understand the situation you're in. But let's not put ourselves in a stereotypical society where if you come from a certain place, you don't understand how some things work. We are millennials, we're Gen Zs out here, we're Web 2.0, we're everything that this generation, the older generation, thought will never become. So take your chance, get educated. There are very different forums out here. If you don't know what to do, ask. If you can't ask your friends or your family, take your phone, go to the cyber, Google these things. They're out here. Listen to people's story, learn from their experiences, and now choose what you want to become. The choice is on your side. I can't tell you to not do this and then force you to. You can't take a donkey to the water and force you to drink water. So it's simple. Learn what you have to learn and do what you have to.
What would you tell girls or people who do this?
I normally tell them what I was told by my teacher when I was in high school. If you don't want to get pregnant, then abstain. Don't do what people do so that they can get pregnant. And if you are doing what people do to get pregnant, then protect yourself. Take precautions. There are so many types of family planning, you can do them. If you are not ready to take family planning, then abstain.